Welcome back into the 143, coming at you live under review.
Back at it again. We have episode 12.
We are just rolling through these
We are.
weeks.
We're cruising, baby.
This is 3 months, 12 episodes.
Pretty crazy.
Pretty
three months of
crazy.
greatness, I should add. Joseph, what happened to your arm there?
So I broke my hand last night playing softball. I went to dive to catch a ball, landed on my glove, and heard a nice little crack in my hand. Didn't think it was broken.
Snap, crackle, pop.
Let me just say this. I did finish the game. Whatever got hit to me, I used my right hand, so I snapped my glove hand. Used my right hand to throw it in. I did go up to bat and hit with one hand and flew out to the second baseman or pitcher.
So it's essentially equivalent to that one game when Scottie Pippen played, but he had back problems.
Yeah.
You know, it was
or like the Michael
throbbing
Jordan
all
flu game.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of.
Yeah.
Was
It's
those two
basically like
scenarios.
that,
It's the same thing.
Went to the ER, had it x-rayed, and I definitely broke it pretty cleanly.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm out for the next 6 to 8 weeks. Sorry, fantasy managers and everything like that. I promise to reconcile and.
Yeah, you just ruined some fantasy
I just
managers'
killed some
seasons,
lineups.
bro.
But yeah, no, that's happening. It's in a splint right now for all y'all watching, and hopefully we'll be back in 6 to 8 weeks.
Good thing for all of you listening is that it does not affect his speech or our ability to put out content.
I can click record
So,
and I can click in
we are
recording.
still able to record our podcast, so there's no worries there.
Exactly, which is what's most important. So let's just dive right into it. Obviously, not much has gone on in the last week except for March Madness, and it is now over. We have your Kansas Jayhawks as the national champions. So congratulations, Kansas. Must be nice to win a championship. A&M couldn't even win the NIT tournament. So
Kansas is awful at literally every other sport on the planet, but they're somehow amazing at basketball.
Exactly. So let's talk about it. We're gonna go into the stat of the week.
Yeah.
Presented to you by Andrews Logistics again, our main sponsor, and we always appreciate them for the work they do. Go look them up. Great quality logistics company. The best out there is what I've heard. That's just the word on the street. But
That's just what they say.
the Wall Street. Dun dun dun. Anyways, our stat is that in the finals game last night, so we're recording on Tuesday, North Carolina went up by 16 points. A lot of people assumed kind of that the game was pretty much over at that
People were
point.
like taking pictures and posting on their stories saying like, man, we got back-to-back finals games 2 years in a row that aren't even close and aren't fun to watch. Boy, were they wrong.
And yeah, so Kansas had something else to say about that. Came back from the 16-point deficit, ended up winning by 3, and they overcame the largest deficit. It was the biggest comeback in NCAA championship history. So good job, Kansas. That's your stat of the week.
That just goes to show you got to play to the final whistle.
Yes,
play
sir.
to the end.
Yes, sir.
So
like
then
I did last night.
It's going to bring up our player of the week. Okay, obviously, you guessed it. It's a Kansas basketball player because that was a pretty huge week for them. David McCormick
Attaboy.
played a total of 29 minutes, got himself a crispy 10 rebounds, was 7 for 15, and scored a total of 15 points. Led the Kansas Jayhawks to a championship. Thank you very much, Mr. David McCormick.
Attaboy, David McCormick.
Go down in history. He's a legend. He's a beast.
So let's get right into it. Talk about the
Break it down
finals.
a little bit more.
So my thing with the finals is, I said going into it that Kansas looked like just the bigger and then more experienced team because North Carolina's a little bit younger. Obviously, Hubert Davis' first year as a head coach, which, by the way, did a really good job in his first year.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, he
Take him to the finals
whooped Duke at Cameron in Coach K's last game.
twice.
And then
Got him
whooped Duke in the
twice.
Final Four
Yeah.
and ended Coach K's career. So the greatest basketball coach of all time in college, Hubert Davis, ended his career twice. And going up against Kansas, though, they were bigger. They were just bigger bodies. And they did have that 16-point lead. So that for you to blow a lead like that it's still pretty bad.
That's pretty atrocious.
It is.
Like,
But, I mean, it was in the final, so, I mean, they made it. But if you don't win the last game of the season,
nobody cares.
nobody cares.
Who said that?
That would be Billy Bean,
I'm sorry, Billy Bean from
general
Moneyball.
manager.
We just like to make sure that everyone understands that is the most truthful
Here-
statement you will ever hear
So here on Under
in
Review,
your life.
We're
We're not about participation.
if you listen
We're
to the
about
episode
winning.
last week, we don't care about scores, stats. It's about winning. If you don't win,
Nobody
no one
cares.
okay, so North Carolina, hey, good job, guys. You lost. Okay, really
You'll
great
get 'em
run.
next time,
great
fellas.
run. Hopefully next year
Playa.
you win it. But guess who the champion is? Kansas. It's like I said, everyone likes the Bengals, but they lost the Super Bowl, so they
does
didn't win.
Anyone care?
Exactly. 20 years from now, we're
No.
not going to remember they made it.
No.
So, I mean, good job for fighting hard, guys, but you also lost a 16-point deficit, which is terrible.
Yep.
You just can't. That just can't happen.
There was literally no excuse. Like, I thought North Carolina was the better team
Their
because
top
they
guys
were hot too.
in the second half went like 3 for 7. There was 2 for 7, 1 for 9. Like they were just missing shots. And then they got out rebounded in the entire game, 55 rebounds to 35. And then Kansas had 27 offensive rebounds. Like in basketball, boards are key to get the ball back. And Kansas just completely out rebounded them. And I honestly would say that's the reason they were able to come back and win. And I think North Carolina just kind of sat back on that lead a little too much.
Yeah, I mean,
They kind of got lazy, started taking it for granted, I think. And just in a national championship game,
you can't do that
you
because
can't do
the
that.
team that you're playing against, they obviously deserve to be there because they had to win a lot of games to get to that point and beat some tough teams.
Yeah, it's not going to be
right?
an easy out. Like, it's not the first round. Of
In
the
college
tournament.
basketball, you know, anything can happen. Like, for example, you got St. Peter's beating Kentucky and then making it pretty far, but they obviously ended up
They got caught up in the Cinderella
falling
story.
short, right? But that just goes to show that anything can happen in college basketball and honestly college sports, period.
Yeah,
Excuse me, sorry.
any sport. I mean, especially professional too. 'Cause
Oh,
you're dealing with
absolutely.
more. But I mean, like I said, North Carolina, good job beating Duke. But beating Duke is not the national championship. So y'all can hold it over Duke fans, but you can't hold it over
Duke
the NCAA.
has a young team, so like there's not a lot of experience there from the players.
No,
So it's
I hate
like,
that Coach K's last
Yeah.
year was with such an inexperienced team. But he is the king of one and done like players. You know, like that was his thing. He kind of evolved with the game.
Yeah.
He was the big reason that started, you know, he was okay with a lot of colleges at the beginning weren't okay with one and done. They wanted the players to stay. And so he was like, I mean, I'll take you. And so, you know, they stay for 1 year, then go to the NBA. And that year he'd help them out and help them win. But
Yeah, absolutely.
I hate that his career's over. It's going to be super weird not having him in there anymore. But congrats to Kansas and North Carolina. Go get him next year. But I don't want to hear anyone talking about how good North Carolina is, okay? Because if you don't win the last game of the season, nobody cares.
Nobody cares. All right, so let's bring up the next topic of discussion, the most important topic that you're going to hear about this week. Yes, we're talking some more about the Dallas Cowboys.
It's America's team, baby.
It was bound to
America's
happen,
team.
okay? It's been far too long since we've had
It has.
a meaningful discussion about our Dallas Cowboys.
Exactly.
So I feel like it's worth bringing up. Apparently, Mr. Emmitt Smith, Cowboys legend.
Legend himself.
Legend with a capital Legende.
So when he speaks,
When he
Cowboys
speaks,
Nation listens.
you better open your ears and listen.
Exactly.
Okay? The teacher is talking. All right? He said that the issue with the Cowboys is not a talent problem, it is an execution problem. And so we're going to bring up that question now and say, do you agree with Emmett in saying that it's a it's an execution problem and not a talent problem?
So let's explain the question to, is it more about the fact that we don't have enough talent on the team and that's why we're losing, or the fact that we can't
We don't know how to
execute with the
mesh
talent
all
that we're
that
given?
together.
And I'm going to say that last season was an execution problem. 100%.
1,000%.
We were stacked.
For
but
sure.
you know what? You know what? That was last season, and I'm not just going to go into what was wrong with last season because we've done that a bunch. I'm going to talk
Yeah.
about this season. And you know what?
What needs to change
This season
in
might
order
be.
to seek out success?
That's what I'm saying. This season actually might be a talent problem because you know why?
We
are
traded
trading
away
our
all
talent.
of our good guys.
Amari's
and then
gone.
the people that we're signing are like James Washington. Like, what? We don't need him. We should have kept Amari.
We just signed a 4th string receiver to fill a 3rd string hole created because our 1st string got traded.
Yes.
For a 5th and a 6th round pick. A 5th and a 6th round pick for Amari Cooper. So we just traded away our talent to get no talent. And then we signed James Washington. I mean, he's not bad. He's an NFL receiver, but he's not Amari. He's not a number 1.
Amari's
CD
a good route runner. That's what he's
1.
always had going for him. Is Amari was a phenomenal route runner, but he just got overlooked because Dak wouldn't make those throws and he wouldn't target Amari enough.
It's ridiculous because Gallup is now pretty much our number 1. He's not even on the field.
Because he's always injured.
CD would then have to be the number 1, and he had the most drop passes in the league. I'm not saying he can't be the number 1, but I'm saying he's got some.
He's got a big role to fill. Like, he's going to have to step it up because he is going to have to play a lot better than he did last season.
So that's why, and also we just let Randy leave. Randy Gregory, he's gone, and I've actually met him before and had a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to throw that out there. I have a picture with him and everything.
Well, we actually,
he's kind of my boy.
We were the first to know that he was going to Denver.
He
was like,
me.
"Hey, Joseph, I just wanted to let you know that you're not going to see me in a Cowboys jersey anymore. I'm going to Denver."
Back in my younger days, I worked at Crown Colony Country Club in Lufkin, Texas, and I walk into the country club from outside, and I see Randy Gregory sitting there and eating food, and I was like, I got to go meet this guy. So we talked for a little bit, and he actually told me, and I'm not making this up, that I could have a future in football if I wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
And I took that to heart and went into podcasting instead.
Decided to pursue not football.
Well, I don't regret that decision, but I do love my boy Randy Gregory.
Mm-hmm.
So good luck in Denver. But we lost him.
We miss you?
We lost him. He was great last year. Lost him. And instead of signing Bobby Wagner, Chandler Jones, or Von Miller, we didn't sign any of them. So now we still are missing a pass rusher on the edge to go along with D-Law.
He's such a lethal edge rusher. Like, the combination of him on the edge and D-Law on the interior, that just ruined offensive lines all season long. But that also meant that you could use Micah
to
literally
rush
wherever you want. You could send him off the edge. You could send him up the middle. You could send him out in coverage. You could do whatever you wanted with him because you had the guys up front that it gave you the ability to free up Micah and let him just command the whole field.
And then our problem was secondary, and we didn't do anything about it. We just re-signed the guys we already had. So we didn't add more talent to the secondary. So we lost talent on defense and signed the same dudes back and then decided to trade away our best talent on offense.
Our secondary was getting diced up even though our D lineman was pressuring the quarterback to make bad throws, or so we thought, and they're still getting the ball out and absolutely trashing our secondary. And so what do? We trade away the good parts of our defense and re-sign the bad parts and expect a different outcome than what we got. And I don't understand how you're going to try and find success if you're not signing any of your good players and you're bringing back the dudes that were the problem last year.
I think the answer is you're not going to find success. And this is why I am so disappointed by what we have done this offseason. So disappointed. And I don't know what the problem is. Maybe it's because Jerry's distracted with this lawsuit he's got going on right now. But please hire a GM to run this team, because last year, huge execution problem. We were at the playoff game. We saw what happened. Could not score to save our life. But this year, I can't blame it on anything, but we don't have the guys to do it anymore, because we could have made a legit run at the Super Bowl this year with the talent that we had. So it was an execution problem. This next season, it's going to be a humongous talent problem, because we no longer have a number 1 receiver for Dak to throw it to, which, by the way, Dak was terrible even with a number 1 receiver, so I don't know how that's going to work out.
Receiving core. Like, we were goated.
The best receiving core in the league.
Yes.
I stand by that. And it's just ridiculous what we've done. And we've taken away some of the defensive parts. We've taken away some of the offensive parts. Obviously, we signed Brian Anger back, which I'm very happy about. I'm glad we did that. We signed our Pro Bowl punter back.
Because we need a good punter when we're the Cowboys, because that's what we'd be doing a lot.
We do punting a lot. We also know he could throw as well.
He can throw.
1 for 1, 16 yards in the
100%. I'd like everyone to know that.
100%. That reminds me of the Michael Jordan LeBron debate. 100% in the finals. Just saying.
Yeah, just got to put that out there.
Yeah, I just got to throw that out. I just got to keep reminding people about that. But it is just ridiculous to me that we are sitting there talking about how we had the talent last year and the execution wasn't there. And then our solution to that was get rid of the talent and then hope the execution just
comes into place. That also comes with coaching, I think, as well.
We signed the same coaches.
Mike McCarthy needs to get more vocal because the guy that is supposed to be the leader is Dak, and he's obviously not being vocal enough and getting it done because we run into this past season, I feel like it was probably one of the best Cowboys teams that we've seen in the last...
Since we've been alive. I've never seen a better Cowboys
I
team.
would argue since we've been alive, and all we can do is make it
exit
to the first round of the playoffs and then lose to the 6th seed?
Yeah, it was...
What? Are you kidding me?
And I, me and you were talking at the beginning of the offseason with Devontae probably leaving the Packers, with Brady retiring when he did retire.
Right.
Like, it was going to be us and the Rams. That's what it was going to be. And then Brady comes back, so now you've got the Rams, the Bucks, maybe the Packers. But if we had kept our guys, we're up there in that discussion.
We're still in the runnings.
Because we're winning our division. We're winning our division.
Our division is awful, and all of the team. I think the 4 teams in the NFC, in the NFC East, the Cowboys, the Commanders, the Eagles, and the Giants. I believe all of them came together and made a pact, and were like, hey, what if we just made our teams trash? And so Jerry was like, okay, yeah, we'll do that. And so I'll just trade away all of my good guys. And then the Commanders were like, oh, well, then we'll sign Carson Wentz. And then the Giants were like, oh, we'll sign Daniel Jones back. And so that's literally where we sit.
We won't go find a quarterback.
Like, obviously, yes, we win the NFC East, and we're probably going to do it again this upcoming year because the NFC East is not that hard to win.
I can't see us being more than a first-round bye. I mean, a first-round exit. I don't know why I said bye. Sorry.
Yeah,
first-round exit
absolutely.
Again.
I mean, it just does not make sense. And then they were talking about wanting Devontae Parker before he went to New England. And then Chris Olave or whatever, the wide receiver, he had a visit with us. And it's like, what? Why are we seeking out these guys?
Why are we trying?
Why didn't we just keep Amari? Like, we brought that problem upon ourselves. And keep Cedric Wilson. I thought he was good.
That's true.
He was able to complement the other receivers well. But we're just not fixing the problem, I don't feel like.
All we're doing is cutting guys or trading them. We haven't added anyone but James Washington and re-signed the other guys we had. So Jerry's obviously going to blame this season, every loss, he's going to blame it on execution. That's what he's going to blame it on. He's going to be like, well, like he said last season, I gave him the team, good to win, we just couldn't execute, right? And that was true last season. This season, it's not true. Jerry did a terrible job this offseason. I hope he can, fix it in the draft maybe. But still, you're looking at guys that are going to take a few years.
Find another Micah Parson tier type player.
So I hate to say this. I think this season is pretty much a wrap.
Yep.
Next season, fire Mike McCarthy.
Hire
Sean Payton.
I'm expecting us to win the NFC East, but nothing more.
I'm not letting what happened last year, like with my expectations, get high. Like, I'm not letting that happen again.
No, absolutely not.
So I do hope we sign
If we're a first-round
Payton,
exit with the team that we had last year, best believe it's going to happen again.
And it's not even really Mike McCarthy's fault, but Sean Payton's a way better coach, so I hope we hire him.
I'd much rather have Sean Payton. Are you kidding?
I just think this year is going to be probably a buffer year. And I hate to say it because I know I'm disappointing Cowboys Nation right now by saying it, but like even the most diehard fans in the sports, Skip Bayless, he's already chalked this season up as well.
Yeah.
Like it's just not even, the best fans are seeing this season because we just in this league, you need a true number one receiver and you need a true good quarterback. And
Absolutely.
Dak has proven that he can't handle pressure. So if he comes out this season, he starts balling out against bad teams like he always does, that's great. But we need you to win these away games against good teams, or actually even home games.
Yeah, we'll beat the Giants, we'll beat the Eagles, we'll beat the Commanders. Good, that's expected of you. You're supposed to beat the teams that are trash.
Exactly.
I hope you do, but I'm
We're
not
gonna
expecting
celebrate-
anything more.
We're not going to celebrate when we win our garbage division.
Yeah,
That's not
absolutely.
happening.
This past
That's a
season.
given.
I was like, we won the NFC East. Great. We should win the NFC East. Like any halfway decent team that you sub out with the Cowboys is going to win the NFC East.
It is getting harder and harder to root for the Cowboys. Not saying we're ever going to stop, because we're also rooting for the Rangers, and they haven't been very good either.
The
But
Rangers are on the
I
rise.
need the city of Dallas to come together and focus on winning. And maybe the Mavs can do it because they're good this year. But we will see. We shall see.
We've just been a city of disappointment, man.
So I agree with
plenty of
I
disappointment.
think, going back to the quote, Emmett was talking about last season. I totally agree with him. Last season was execution and not a talent problem. But this upcoming season, it will be both, because we have no talent.
We've never had the execution on par, and then obviously
Quinn will have the defense
talent
ready.
is gone.
I'm not worried about the defense, but it's an offensive league, and if you can't score, you're not going to win at all.
And we couldn't score with the star-studded freaking receiving core that we had last year, so why should we expect anything different with a worse receiving core?
It's very disappointing. Obviously, we hope that we do good.
It just gets tough to watch all these offseason moves, because like all these other teams are making such smart decisions, but like
it's tough to watch. It's tough to watch.
Look at the Cowboys, and it's like, why are we doing that?
Yeah, we never have any amazing free agent signings, but hopefully we get it together.
Hopefully they'll change my mind. I would love to be wrong.
Yeah, no, prove us wrong.
Feel
please.
free to prove us wrong. Like, it's not going to hurt my feelings
This is not something I
if
want to be
I
right about.
come back next year this time and say I was wrong. I would love to say that, but I
would love to hoist the Lombardi trophy.
That does not seem as a possibility. Well, here's we like to end our shows on. Under review, we come at you with a quote of the day, brought to you by number 22, the Emmitt Smith.
When the man speaks, we listen.
The teacher is talking. Don't complain to others about your troubles. Half of them don't care, and the other half are glad.
Exactly.
Isn't that the truth?
Go out there and win.
Nothing but the truth. Mm-hmm.
Go out there and win. Let's take that to heart, Jerry.
Mm-hmm.
Jerry Jones.
Jerry, please listen. I hope you're hearing all this about how you need to fix our problems. It's the same problems we've been having for a while now.
It is. But we'll...
So just the last little piece of advice. So, Jerry, everything you're doing, I need you to do the opposite.
Ooh, do the smart
So you know how we have a smart thing and a stupid thing to do? Most of the time, we choose the stupid thing. Well, next time you think about doing something, do the smart thing.
That's an interesting piece of advice.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think that that's actually really, really wise.
Because it's like, would it be smart to re-sign Randy Gregory, or would it be stupid to let him go? It would be smart to re-sign him.
It would have been.
But did we do that?
We did not.
We did not.
We did not.
Because that's a smart thing.
Jerry even
and
came out.
Why would we do the smart thing?
It even got blamed on Randy Gregory at first, and then Jerry came out and was like,
"That's
no,
what I
thought
for a bit," and then he was like, "Yeah, I didn't want him back."
He was like, "No, I was stupid. Don't worry." We're like, "Oh, okay.
Are you
we'll blame you."
Are you out of your mind?
But it's been an episode where Nick and I have been able to just get our Cowboys
let some steam off on what's going on
because we've been watching these last
Dallas
couple
area.
weeks. We've been so disappointed. Great job, Kansas. Good year, good season.
Mm-hmm. Congrats on getting that finals championship.
We still have hats and mugs.
Plenty of them. Just reach out.
Mugs are 10, hats are 25.
Right, absolutely.
But
reach out to our offices, and hopefully our secretary can get back with you because we're so busy.
Absolutely. I mean, we can't be on the phone all the time, but they can. That's their job.
Right, absolutely.
But yeah, just reach out and let us know. But thanks for listening this week. We hope you all have a great week, and tune in next week for some more.
We will see you next time.